or would you just be like, hey, I'm here to get my money, girl? Like, you know what I'm saying? This video is so needed, not just from a perspective of business and clients, but from a perspective of your personal growth. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Autumn and I train aspiring lash artists and create digital content and courses for the service-based beautypreneur. When I see other lash artists or people in the beauty industry struggling with maintaining their clientele, or I like to call it clientele retention. So when they struggle with keeping their clients, their repeat clients, or actually gaining and scaling, most of the times if it's not from a business perspective as far as like your workflow or your systems, a lot of the times it is their personal attitude and the way that they communicate with their clients. Now, I know a lot of people might say that the customer is always right, and of course we know that that is not true, but you have to keep in mind that you are the leader in your business, whether you work for yourself, whether you work with someone else, but it's also mainly you are the guiding compass for whether this business or whatever you do goes in the right direction. So we're going to be talking about that because I feel like I recently had a situation with a young lady, and it was about a service that I was getting from her. It was actually a product, but she has serviced me before. And so we kind of just got right into a little bit of a miscommunication. I just felt like it was important to share this because sometimes we can end up losing great business relationships. I have 5 tips to help you with bettering your customer service, and we're going to talk about why your customer service is really important. And that is the make it or break it between whether your clients stay with you or not. So, of course, you know, I wrote some tips and typed them in my notes, and I'll be looking down just to kind of make sure I don't forget anything. But I want to come right out the gate, and we want to say that you need to, for number one, this is number one. So, my first tip is to get out of a transactional mindset and into a relationship mindset. And let's just face it, you guys, business is relationships. And it's mainly as something as specific as what we do in the beauty industry, whether you're a lash tech, a hairstylist, nail tech, esthetician, whatever you do, it's something as simple as the beauty industry, and it's something as intimate as the services that we provide. You have to realize over time that a lot of your clients see you like 2 weeks, every 2 weeks. I know a lot of my clients see me every 2 weeks. Sometimes you might see your hairstylist every 6 weeks, or you see your nail tech every 2 to 3 weeks. What you have to realize, as just from being a human being, is they see you more than they see their family a lot of the time. And a lot of the time, when you realize we're dealing with women, depending on what you deal with women a lot. In the beauty industry, women are the number one consumer for being in the beauty industry. So think about it. You are with your clients in an intimate setting, as far as like you're seeing all their flaws, you're seeing the things that they are insecure about. You become more like family to them in a way that, of course, I want to just preface this by saying there is a boundary, but you have to look at it as you guys have a relationship, and you have to take the transaction and the money off the table for a little bit just to get down to understanding your client. Because when you really start to understand your client, you're going to learn how that specific client communicates, which will in turn help you to better the relationship, better your overall customer service, better your business, and to just grow as a person with learning your own communication style and skills. And you'll learn how to navigate with other people and their communication style and skills. And then you think about it, because I see these people more than I see my family. Like, I don't get to go home very often. So you have to think about it that there's a lot that comes with that. And of course, you do grow fond of your clients. So you want to take the mindset off of just getting money, although you run a business, because, like I said, money is not going to be the reason that your business sustains. And especially when you are taking money from someone, they have, in a way, they are investing in you. And so when you can't communicate effectively with them, of course it's going to cause problems because they are seeing themselves investing into you, and of course your service is in return investing in them. But you have to realize that this is a relationship. So I hope that that makes sense. So the first tip is to take the relationship aspect off of a transactional one into a actual like relationship, a business relationship. Number two is to know your business culture. You guys, I talk about this all the time. I specifically talk about niching a lot, but you need to know your business culture. Every business has a culture, and if you don't have one, you need to really define that, and that starts with knowing your ideal client. And when you think about it, a lot of the times when you have problems with your clients, when you are taking money from people, and especially when it is a luxury service, with luxury service means luxury customer service. So when you are quick to take their money, when they have concerns, you need to be responding in a timely manner. And I'm not saying it got to be like 5 minutes, like she texts you or she messages you and you have to respond in 5 minutes. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is don't take 2 whole days to get back to her when she has a concern, because if you were someone that was quick to make hop in her back in her inbox and say like, yes, I can take you on this day, let me book you for this day, and you were quick to get her to come sit in your chair, as soon as she has a concern and you're not responding in a at least 24-hour period, and you should be able to put that on your booking site or your website and say, if you have questions or concerns, give me this sort of time period. But when you're not responding and you go past that time, she feels not heard. She feels like you don't care about her. She feels like it's a transaction, and she feels like, okay, she needs to find someone else who can communicate with her effectively. This could all really be avoided, especially when the conflict arises when she has a concern. So say that she feels like she didn't get the service that she paid for. So say that she wanted a volume set. I'm gonna just use an example. So say that she wants a volume lash set, right? So she wants a volume lash set. You do the volume lash set, and at the end she loved it, or she thought she loved it, and then she goes home and then she realizes that it might be too much for her. All right, so when she responds, well, when she reaches out to you and lets you know that she's not sure if it's too much for her, or she wasn't sure before, you need to be able to make her feel heard. That's the overall thing. You need to be able to make her feel heard, and like her opinions and her thoughts matter. You don't get irritated right away. You listen to understand and to be able to respond, not take offense. Because I know when someone, and we've all been through this, when someone has a concern with your work or doesn't particularly like something that you do, we take such offense to it and we internalize it, and then we take things as an attack. And that's not always the case. So you need to know what your culture is within your business, or if you don't know it, you need to create the culture so you know what goes by, what it goes by. So if you have luxury prices, then you need to have luxury customer service. You see what I'm saying? Because you can't be charging $150, $200 for your service and be lacking in your customer service and in your ability to communicate. Because I see that that's what is going wrong with a lot of people, where they're not getting the results that they want because they are charging so much for a certain thing, but the customer service or the way that you communicate with the clients is lacking in a way that screams luxury. I hope that makes sense. So that's going to lead right into the next one, which is very, very important. So we're going to talk about your body language and your actual language. So your language, your tone of voice, and your body language. Now, I'm going to say some really real stuff right here, because I know that I'm talking to an array of different people from different cultures. I've checked my analytics, so I realize I have like people from a lot of different cultures and races, and I love that. The truth is, you have to be aware of different, cultural differences with your clientele. So how you talk to some people and how you communicate just in general with some people is not the way that you um, communicate with other people. So I'm gonna keep it very real. I know when I have my clients, like my African American clients or clients of color, it's a certain way that we talk to each other, right? It's a certain way we handle each other. We have like more attitude. We crack jokes with each other. And it seems like a little rough sometimes because like that's just what we do in our culture. That's how we love on each other in a way. That's how we like express ourselves. We love to laugh. We love to like just joke and pick with each other, right? But you can't do that with everyone. So, what I'm saying is, you really need to just read the room, honestly. Read the room with your client. This is why you need to understand her body language and need to understand when she is uncomfortable. And you need to be able to pick up on those cues and to be able to adjust. All right, because you need to be the one leading and making her feel comfortable. So, it's an even tone voice when you are diffusing a situation, especially through text message. You have to diffuse it and have a even standpoint. So you need to use certain terms and key points. And I wrote a few down, so I'm gonna read the key points that you should say. So you should use a soft voice with an even tone and say her name when responding, because a lot of the times when your client doesn't feel heard, she feels like you're just treating her like another person. And every situation is very individual based. So treat her situation tailored to her. So you're going to say her name like, all right, well, Rebecca, I understand this, and that, especially when you're talking to her in person and you're trying to resolve a situation. I find when I use my client's name, their real name, they realize like, oh, she's speaking to me like I'm a person, right? And my body language is very inviting. I'm not closed off. I make sure I try not to have resting bitch face because I have that quite often. But when my clients are having concern and we're in person, I lead with a smile more. I make eye contact with her and I make her feel heard. And I use these key phrases. So some of my favorite key phrases are, so when you tell people you understand, so you should say, I understand. And then can also say, to clarify. So to clarify the situation or to clarify what you mean by this, and you see the tone I'm saying it in, it's in a soft, even tone. It's not in a, well, to clarify what you're saying, because that comes off very differently, right? And then you can say, well, may I suggest? Or instead of saying, well, may I suggest? It's all about how you say it because people can pick up on that tone. People can pick up when you're being offended or you feel that you're being offended and then they shut down. So really just make sure you're always leading with an even tone, because it's one thing to assume that your client is coming for you when they're having concern, but most of the time they're not. They just don't know how to communicate, especially when they I find lash clients, especially the new lash clients, they don't really understand the process. So sometimes when they do some things, or I had one girl, like she singed her lashes. And of course I told her beforehand, but she wasn't sure. She was saying like there were she had a few singed on the end and she was just very frustrated because she's like, she thought she was doing everything right. And then, instead of me internalizing and saying when I'm talking to her in person that I'm feeling like instead of me feeling like she's saying that my work is bad, I'm saying that she's feeling frustrated because it's her first time getting eyelash extensions and she doesn't know if she is doing the upkeep correctly. And so I just ask her a few questions to clarify the situation, and I don't use it as a point to project back on her. And then another key phrase that I really love to use is I would love to. Now, I would love to really just diffuses the situation in general, because at the end of the day, like, instead of getting the client upset, I know, like I always say, you guys, this is your domain. This is what you do. No one can run your business but you. So you don't give anyone else the power to make certain decisions or to handle certain things, because she's coming to you because she knows that this is your domain, and she's looking for you to handle it. She's looking for you to direct her to the right, whatever she needs to do, right? So that's how you have to look at it. You have to realize that you're a leader, and your clients, they are not necessarily your followers, but they're going to of course follow what you say do to maintain the investment that they've made into you and your business and themselves, right? So it does work together. So you have to remember that when you are coming up in this situation, instead of you getting upset, even if you are getting upset, remember you are the one to diffuse the situation, because you are the leader in this situation. So overall, you guys, I really just need you to take control of what you are doing, take control of the situation, because it shouldn't get far out of hand. You know what I mean? So number 4 is the law of reciprocity. And the law of reciprocity is a real law, but when we're talking about our clients having a business relationship with us, not necessarily just a transactional relationship with us, this is why a lot of people don't get maintain their clientele, because like I said, remember, if your girl is coming to you for like every 2 weeks, you see her quite often. So she's interested in you and what you're doing and what you're providing for her. So you should be interested in something that she's interested in. Whether you get to know her a little bit and you find out she has kids, ask about the kids every once in a while. Ask if she's in school, ask her if she was telling you about this paper that she had due, that was very hard. The next time she comes in, ask her how did she do on the paper. The thing is, you guys, and I know, because I know we like to keep it separate, but you have to realize what I'm saying is that your clients see you. They tend to see you very often. And the thing about women, and this is something that we all as women should know, but if you don't know, women love to have partnerships. Women love to have groups. Women love to be in groups. They love to be involved. That is an inherent women trait. We love to feel that someone else gets us, someone else understands us, someone else cares. This is an inherent nature for women in general. So when you understand that, you understand why people get upset, and you can understand why you get upset when you feel like you're not being heard. All right? So even when she's being upset, you can understand it. Not saying to let her run you over, but you can think and respond before you just react. So understand the law of reciprocity is not just about you benefiting from her coming to get her lashes done or coming to get the service. It's for you to understand how business relationships work, and to understand how overall, how you want to be seen, how you want people to look at you, how you want people to trust you, how you want your client to keep coming back. You are just as much invested in her well-being as much as she is in yours, whether you want to believe it or not, because at the end of the day, she gives you money, and that money supports your lifestyle. So that is a very much law of reciprocity, is that yes, you both need to be getting something, and she needs to feel valued more outside of her money, because that is a woman's trait. They want to feel valued outside of finances, right? So a little bit of psychology in there, because that's just how it is. And you guys, I have, like I said, I've been in the beauty industry like my whole career. So if it's one thing I know women. Number 5, you want to take responsibility and leave your ego at the door. Now, for me, this is something that's really hard in general, because my ego is so big, and when it gets stepped on, I just really don't know how to react. Like I just don't know. So so you need to check your ego at the door, because a lot of people lead with entitlement, and I have before. At the beginning of my career, back when I used to do hair, I used to feel entitled to getting clients and being successful. And all these things take work, of course, and thank God, like I snapped out of it. But a lot of the times we think because we are providing a service that people need us or that someone is pretty much like needing us. And no, like, because there's a million other lash artists or whatever you do, there's a million other people who do the same thing that you do, but you have to remember what sets you apart from everyone else. Another thing about taking responsibility, and this is why taking responsibility is so important, because maybe you want to take responsibility before you have the chance to get upset. I always find the way to see if there's something that I could take responsibility on, because more times than not, it is a miscommunication between you guys both. Sometimes you don't understand each other's communication style. I have to realize that for me, I am extremely assertive in my approach in life, and a lot of people are not so direct. So there's ways that I have to adjust whenever I need to deal with certain people or certain clients. Like, there's a certain way I have to approach it. You know, sometimes you have to be like super sweet about it. You can't be like, okay, this, that. Like, it's not that easy, you know? So just read the room, you guys. Take responsibility and think about it. Would you rather lose this relationship, especially if you want a relationship with your client, as far as like you want her to keep coming back to you, you want her to be a loyal client to you. Remember, like, no one is entitled to just being your client. Like, just because she liked your lashes this time doesn't mean that she sees the value in you enough to come back consistently. So you can't be entitled in your approach. And this is why a lot of people, I feel, also don't have the clients coming to them, because you might be exuding desperate energy. And maybe we'll have a video on that at some point, because desperate energy, people can feel when you are coming off very desperate in your approach. Whether you are like always like texting her, like you text her like the next day, like, oh my gosh, like, well, how you like your lashes? Then you text her like 3 days later, like, how are they holding up? And then you hit people in their inbox being like, oh, well, I'm a lash tech, so don't forget me. Just because you see lashes, her wearing lashes in her story, you don't have to like go try to steal her from someone else. That exudes desperate energy, all right? So sometimes we are our own worst enemies. Taking responsibility too, especially for people who still book through like text messages, DMs, all those things. If you continuously or still do book through there, I know that miscommunication can come up a lot through that. And so you want to take responsibility for certain things. So if you have set up a certain thing where your client can message you in your messages and you get her scheduled and whatnot, but you need her to go read something on your booking site, make sure that you tell her, because when she comes back and says like, hey, I didn't know this, or hey, I didn't know that, you have to take responsibility, because you didn't tell her that she needed to read the policies and the procedures, or you didn't tell her to just go book it herself on the booking site. So sometimes we have miscommunications that way. And another thing with taking responsibility is, and this is the one that I see a lot, and you're gonna know what I'm talking about when I say this. So say you had a first time lash client, and she comes back, she's ready for her fill, she's all excited about her lashes, but she has less than 40%, right? This girl got less than 40%. You've already told her, like, don't come back, without 40%, or it's a full set. But what if you did not tell her what 40% looks like? And let's be honest, 40% looks different on a lot of people, depending on if you're getting a classic, hybrid, volume, or mega volume style. It's going to look different on everyone, right? So she comes back and she was all excited, but then you tell her she has less than 40%. Now, do you think that it's smart to charge her the price for the full set right then and there? if she's never seen what 40% looks like, if you didn't have a picture to show her what 40% left looks like, or you didn't specify on your site what 40% looks like, or whatever the case may be, you didn't show her, and you didn't show her how to maintain her lashes. You never taught her how to maintain it. You never showed her how to brush. You never had anything in place for her to maintain her lashes. If you've never given her anything, any recommended anything, like didn't give her a lash kit, you didn't give her a cleanser, you didn't do certain things, if you didn't let her know, and you're charging her a full set, I feel like this is a problem. This is a big problem, and you have to take responsibility for that. And so, would you rather just lose this potential client who was so excited about her lashes, so excited to come back and to be a part of your gang, like she wants to be a consistent lash client? Would you risk losing that one client over the fact that she has less than 40%, but you never gave her anything? Or would you rather take that responsibility and be like, okay, like, well, I also didn't tell her that she'll have a picture to show her what 40% could look like. I also didn't recommend any cleansing products. I didn't show her how she should be cleansing. I didn't have anything in place for her. I just told her good luck and then come back, right? So, and I've had that a time or two before, and clients have been pleasantly surprised that I have taken the responsibility on that. And I'm like, and I will say, well, okay, so it looks now that you have less than 40% of lashes. Now, normally this would be a full set, this would be considered a full set. But since I did not tell you this, or I don't remember if I gave you this or recommended this, then I will fill all I can this time. Or I will, if you have time, I will do the full set this time. And just so you know, this is what less than 40% looks like. And then you proceed at the end to take that extra time with her and show her how she should be cleaning her lashes, show her how she should be doing certain things. When you take that extra bit of time to take that responsibility, that makes your clients see you in such a big different light. It makes you see yourself in a different light, and it helps to give both of you grace. It gives the client grace, and it gives you grace that you're still learning. So you can't really see it as you're missing out. So that's really for the people who really still lead with transactional versus the relationship aspect of it. So would you rather just miss out on that one client who was so excited, or would you just be like, hey, I'm here to get my money, girl? Like, you know what I'm saying? So make sure you think about that. Take up responsibility in the areas that you slacked or that you did not have follow through. All right, you guys, so that was pretty much it, but I do have one more for you guys. So number 6 is to be solution oriented. Now, I am a very solution oriented person. I have learned to be, because there's so many things that have come up along the way as I have been learning, that I think like I should have had a response for this. I should have had a something in place for this. So if you want to bypass all of that, you should always think that although business is a relationship, and although, you know, you're in business, of course, to make money at the end of the day, at the same time, like you're not in it just for the money, you're in it to grow necessarily as a person as well. So if you can remember that, and to bypass all the BS, when you are thinking, you need to be thinking about from your client's mindset when it comes to certain things. So after the first few times things started happening, what I would do is I would think about, what do I have in place, or what should I put in place for when a client has an allergic reaction? What should I do, or what should I say? What language should I use for XYZ when this comes up? When a client has to cancel, when a client no shows. And so what I did was I started writing in my notes. I have text messages already drafted out that will say wording on what I want to send out. And then if a client no showed, I'll just go get that message, I'll copy it, and I'll just send it to her, or I'll drop it in the notes in the email when I cancel her appointment. So there's no questions asked. Because remember, you guys, we are in business at the end of the day to solve problems. And although you might not think about like lash extensions as being a problem for a client, to her and to the clients who love your work, they're gonna say, like, I need my lashes. Like, the fact that I don't feel like my lashes are long enough is a problem. Them feeling like their lashes are not long enough is a problem, and that's where you step in. Or her feeling like she does not have enough time away from the kids, that is a problem. That's where you step in. For her to be like, okay, well, I want to wake up and not wear makeup, but I still want to somehow look put together. That's her problem. That's where you step in. So even you could just take those few little things and you can market off of those things. Like you can do a lot off of that little bit right there. But you are in business at the end of the day to be a problem solver. All right. So we're gonna go right back over those 6 tips and then we're gonna close out. So number one, remember business is relationships. We want to get out of the transactional mindset to the business relationship mindset. All right, because that's what's going to keep us in business for a long time. And so know your business culture is number two. Know who your ideal client is, know what she likes, know what she dislikes. If you are charging luxury prices, your customer service needs to be luxury as well. Don't wait too long to respond back to your client when she has issues. Number three, be aware of your language and your body language. Always have a soft, even tone voice. Think of the key phrases that I gave you and use those to reiterate back to your client what she meant by said thing. Make her feel heard and always be warm, welcome, and try to be understanding. Number four, the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity is you seeing your client more than just a dollar sign. She is invested in you and your well-being and your pocket. She's giving you money at the same time. You don't want to just see her as a dollar sign. You want to see her as a person. So remember things like her birthday. Ask her about, how school is going. Remember her kids' names. Those sort of things, because she's going to see you a lot more than she sees her family. Like she probably sees her family only once in a year. She's going to see you every 2 to 3 weeks. So once you realize that she's a human being, that takes the pressure off it being transactional. Number five, take responsibility and check your ego at the door. And bonus number six, be solution oriented. Remember, you are in business to solve problems, not just get money, but to be a problem solver. All right, so I want to leave you with one more thing. So, you know how people say the customer is always right? That is not exactly true. I found the original quote for that, and it is the customer is always right in terms of taste. Now, I really like that because, of course, as we know, if you are someone who could kind of see both sides of everything, then you'll know that two things can be absolutely true at the same time. So your client can have a perspective of where she is right for her worldview, and of course, you can be right for your own worldview. But who, at the end of the day, whose ship is this? This is your ship. So make sure that you get her on your side by using some of the tips that I've shared with you. Remember, take the dollar sign off of her. She is an individual and a human being at the end of the day. And all these tips should help you better communicate your needs, your wants, and it should help you in other areas of your life, not just business. So I hope you guys have a great day wherever you are. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye.